Welcome back to the Competitor Talk. Today we got an exciting episode on hand. Today we're going to have Brady White, Memphis Tigers University quarterback, come on the show. And yeah, here we go. So we're going to give him a call right now and we're going to get started.
Hello.
Hey Brady, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, yeah. So welcome to the show. We know you're busy with practice and all. I know it's your bye week, so we'll just try to take up as few minutes as possible and just get this going if you're ready.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so first thing we wanted to start off with was just last week, the game, the primetime game that you guys were on, ABC. I mean, coming into that game, prepared and ready, two nationally ranked teams. I mean, for you guys and for yourself, I mean, what was the biggest thing you were trying to kind of practice and look forward to in terms of, going throughout the week preparing? I mean, was there anything specific you were trying to enhance? Whether it was game film or just making sure you made the right decisions on the field. I mean, which led you to that success so far this season in that game and even before that?
No, I mean we knew the stage and the opportunity that we had for that week, but our approach, our focus, and our preparation was the same, just like it is any week, and we knew we had to have a really good week of practice and. Just take it day by day. And at the end of the day, the objective is just to go 1-0 and get go home with a win, whatever it takes. So that was really our mindset and kind of going throughout that week, and that's how it's been in the weeks prior. We just knew this game was obviously on a higher stage and a little more oomph behind it.
Yeah. So just prior to coming to Memphis, one thing that you went through at Arizona State was getting beat out your freshman year and having the red shirt. For you, going through that process of dealing with the adversity and dealing with obviously coming as a top 10 nationally ranked quarterback, having that little setback in your career. I mean, how has that helped you looking back on it now in terms of your success going forward with Memphis? I mean, was that something that kind of humbled you and made you work even harder to where you are now with a nationally ranked team at Memphis?
I wouldn't my freshman year we had a redshirt senior, so I was just kind of a freshman learning and taking that redshirt year to take it all in, and then the next year I ended up getting hurt. But everything that happened at Arizona State and that I experienced and went through, good and bad, I think was all a part of kind of my plan. I'm a big believer in that everything happens for a reason, and a big man of faith. So I know, God's got a plan for me. I believe that, he did things in my life and put me through certain things in order to build me to where I am today and to bring me to Memphis. So I definitely think I grew a lot from my time in Arizona, and so grateful and appreciative for everyone there and everyone that I got to, connect with and that city. But I'm, very fortunate and blessed to be here in Memphis and wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah, so, speaking of, going to Memphis, obviously, you made the decision to transfer there. I mean, what kind of was the process for you in terms of, picking Memphis? I mean, what stood out for you? Obviously, the success has shown, based on the time that you got there to now. But, I mean, what was it like for you having to transfer to a different university, and what stuck out in terms of Memphis and which you chose it?
When I had elected to transfer, I knew I wasn't just going to be, kind of going through the recruiting process like a high school athlete or a high school recruit. I knew that there was a select few destinations that I really kind of was looking at just because of prior relationships and connections with coaching staffs and whatnot, whether it was from guys that coached at Arizona State or just people that I was really close with throughout my recruiting process when I was in high school. So I kind of had a shorter list of who I was actually kind of going to look at and really do some research on. And Memphis just ended up, kind of everything fell into place and stuck out. And I've obviously have a great relationship with Coach Norvell, and everything just worked out and fell into place. And I was able to get here and get started in the spring, so it was perfect.
Yeah, so last year, passing for almost 3,300 yards, having a good touchdown interception ratio. And, building upon that, having over 150 passer rating last year, I mean, having that success coming into this year, I mean, what was the biggest thing for you in the offseason in terms of, preparing for this year to not only improve yourself, but, make sure you step up as a leader and, really improve this team to where you guys are now at 8-1?
I think the biggest, obviously you work on the field and in the weight room and all that, doing a lot of stuff, but my biggest growth I feel was off the field, just with my teammates and getting to know them more, connecting with them, bonding, and when that relationship and that connection with your brothers and your teammates off the field is growing stronger and stronger, and you're getting closer and closer. It only helps, the connection and the timing and the production on the field. So I felt like that was where I took the biggest steps, just from being able to be with the guys for a full season and then have a full off season and just really get to know everyone, and we get to share our stories and how we got here and what makes us us. I think that was huge. And then I just continued to focus on getting bigger, stronger, faster in the weight room and on the field, working on, timing with receivers and studying defenses and, deep balls and on the moves, just footwork, all the typical things you would work on as a quarterback.
Yeah, so, speaking of terms of, the first half versus second half, something that I'm curious with for you personally is, obviously, you've had a good start, first through fourth quarter in all your games, but, especially coming out of halftime, you can see the kind of elevation within your game, in terms of, your passer rating and, being able to, throw more touchdowns and interceptions. And, just looking at the third quarter in specific, I mean, it kind of stands off in the charts for you based on, the quarter-to-quarter breakdown. Has it been something for you, coming out of halftime, personally for you, getting the chance to be able to, break down the defense on the other side of the ball at halftime with your coaches and then come out with not a new game plan, but, an enhanced game plan, which in terms relates to on the field success within the second half?
Kind of, but not really. I think, at the end of the day, we know we need to play a complete game. We need to play a full 4 quarters. So, whether we start fast, start slow, we know that, there's another half to be played. So we go into half and we just, there's times where we don't even make any adjustments, and we just talk about what we're seeing and what we're getting, and kind of just communicate and make sure that we're on the same page and ready to go for the next half. So, and then there are times where you make little adjustments. So there's never really a time where you're making big, wholesale, big time changes. So I think it's really just a time to kind of refocus, get everyone, ready to go, and then we just pride ourselves in making sure that we're finishing games. So when we get the ball in the second half, we need to make sure that we, continue to execute on offense, take care of the ball, and go get the W.
Yeah, so, just coming off, the Temple loss, obviously, it was a tough loss, at Temple, losing by 2 points eventually at the end of the game. For you guys, though, to make sure that didn't turn into a ripple effect of, kind of getting down and, losing the next game and, kind of derailing the season, what was the main focus for not only you but for the entire team to, make sure that didn't, define your season in terms of, coming out with that next win the next week against Tulane with that 30-point win? I mean, how did you guys bounce back from that and not let that loss impact the entire season?
It's one game. And we played nowhere near the level that we can play, and we, that's what was frustrating. We just didn't display who we are in all phases of the game. So it was just an opportunity to respond from that adversity and from that little hiccup we had. And like you said, at the end of the game, it's only one game. One game isn't the final season. So it was really good. We knew we had Tulane, who is another really tough, good opponent coming into our house. So we knew another opportunity was at hand, and we obviously did a good job with it. But it was just, our guys were really focused and ready to respond and make sure that, we cleaned up the things we needed to clean up and just played the brand of ball that we know how to play.
Yeah, so, going through that, obviously, the success that you guys have had on the field, putting up, an amount of points that is going to help your defense out. Keep on scoring, especially even last week. Looking at the Tulane game, scoring over 40 points in both of those games. For you, not putting all the pressure on yourself. In terms of on the field success, and leaning on your running backs and your wide receivers. Obviously, Kenneth Gainwell, already having over 1,000 yards on the season. Your wide receiver core. It's not unnoticed that your team has a full plethora of talent, if you will. Just on the offensive side of the ball. But not only you, but the amount of wide receivers that can make plays, the running back position. I mean, for you specifically at the quarterback, how do you make sure you don't put the amount of pressure on yourself where it kind of derails the kind of game in the quarter and your mentality, but rather, making sure that, you get everyone involved and not putting it all on yourself?
I'm just going to do my job, man. I prepare my butt off throughout the week. So when I get up there, I know what I'm seeing, and something that we've gone over in reps, and at the end of the day, I'm just going to take what the defense gives me. So in the check game, in the passing game, whatever, it's pretty simple. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but at the end of the day, you just got to take what they give you. You can't force anything and go through reads in the passing game, and that's what's great about having, like you said, that plethora of talent is anyone can get the ball, and I'm confident in all those guys. So, I don't stress out, and I don't feel like I got a lot of weight on my shoulders. I just go out and do my job and execute on the football.
Yeah, so something that I'm curious about for you is, just having, other NFL quarterbacks on the show, other NCAA quarterbacks on the show. I'm curious for you, what kind of is your regimen, preparing for a game? Are you a big film guy? Are you making sure, your mechanics are refined right before game time? Are you someone who just does the on-the-field stuff, the reps in practice? Or are you kind of a guy who does a both combination of kind of film and also the on-the-field reps? I mean, what is it for you that makes you successful, and makes you prepare the best of your ability, going into that Saturday game day?
First and foremost, my faith, just my belief in Jesus Christ, and something, the effect that has on me and makes me who I am, and that just trickles into every aspect of my life. So it definitely is a boost and a positive aspect to my football side of life, and how I interact with teammates, and my mindset and attitude and all that. But as far as like the preparation and everything, I'm a big film study guy and a big repetition and routine guy. So I obviously, like I said, I prepare my butt off throughout the week. I'm watching film a ton, whether it's with coaches or by myself, and then I think it's really critical to just make sure that you get reps in practice of seeing certain looks and or repping a play that you might have kind of put in for the week, just to gain that comfort in it, gain that confidence. And then other than that, I got my little game day routine and your warm-up routine. That it's all about just confidence, man, and feeling good, and just making sure that you're kind of at ease and relaxed and ready to roll, by the time kickoff comes around.
Now, do you go through the same kind of, pregame rituals, not only on the field, but, before the game? Are you someone who is a creature of habit, or do you more of just go with the flow?
A little bit of both. Like, I don't have like a strict routine, but I have a pretty
consistent. Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing week to week leading up to the game. However, it's not always like the exact little, warm up routine that I'm like. I might switch things around or do things a little differently, but so kind of like a creature of habit, and the fact that I like having a routine and like having some familiarity, like week to week, of doing the same kind of process. But as the little intricacies about it, those can be. That could be go with the flow a little bit, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand that. So just last question before we kind of, go to the final two questions, which are just more of, off the field things. Last on the field thing for you, specifically with, being ranked, obviously last week and this week, in the AP Top 25 and the college football playoff rankings, which came out this week. For you, are you someone who looks at the rankings, or do you more of just, focus on the field stuff, and then, after the week, just, wherever you are, you are? I mean, are you someone who looks at that and, looks at the standings, or do
not
you?
At all.
No?
No, you don't. I mean, you don't need to. What's the point of looking at rankings? If you just go take care of business on the field, you'll see it. Like it'll come. So that's something like you can't control. I'm a big believer, and we preach it a lot around this program. And our team is control what you can control. You can't control the rankings. You can control how you perform and doing your job. And if you do that and you go out and play at a high level, then the nation will see that. Especially since we're fortunate enough to have a lot of televised games and nationally broadcasted stuff on ESPN or ABC. So you don't got to worry about that. But at the same time, like now that when you do play well, like you get to see it, and then it's cool and you're appreciated and grateful, and it's really cool because you grew up watching college football and you see the rankings and that's what you dream about being a part of. But at the same time, if you don't go handle business, the next week it could be gone. So you can't really worry about that. You got to just go handle your business on the field.
Yeah, definitely. So, just off the field, real quick with the final two questions. For you, I mean, obviously, you have to go through school and obviously, you have to do, practice and film and whatnot. But, just, off, the record, not off the record, but, off, kind of the college and, football aspect. I mean, are any hobbies, anything stand out for you that, when maybe things are getting a little too hard or a little too rough in terms of, just a lot of focused on, different aspects? Is there anything that you find that's kind of relaxing hobby, whether, a lot of guys have said, hunting, playing music? I mean, what's it for you that kind of gets you, off kind of the spectrum of football?
Yeah, absolutely. Really love golfing.
Okay.
I think that's a great kind of one of my escapes. I'm not like a gamer, but I enjoy playing video games and getting online with whether it's like my brother or family members or friends back home or even teammates. I enjoy playing video games when I have some time and hanging out with my girlfriend, my dog, and hanging out with friends, kind of off the field, just relaxing, watching TV or chopping it up or going out to a movie or whatnot. I would say that's pretty much. I mean, I enjoy doing a lot of stuff, but those are like my main hobbies, I would say.
Awesome.
But it's definitely, I think it's key to have things or
kind of that balance in life.
People to be around or do in order to kind of escape for a little bit and like you said, unwind and relax in the heat of all the work and the grind.
Yeah, definitely. Final question for you. Obviously this is, just an opinion question for you, but for you, I mean, in the locker room, I mean, who on the team it had thus far, obviously you've been there for, over a year now. Who is the biggest, clown or jokester or pranker in the locker room?
I wouldn't call anyone a clown because everyone here is like mentality and work ethic is incredible. So everyone, you hear a lot of like people say people are just a clown, like they just goof around. I will say this though, we do have a lot of jokesters and a lot of funny dudes. So a lot of good characters, guys that have a great blend of being able to be loose and joke around and have a good laugh, but they also know when to work. And I would probably if I could tweak your question, I would probably say the funniest people on the team are DeMonte Coxey, our wide receiver, and I'd say one of our defensive backs, Kendall Johnson.
All right, awesome.
And there's a handful of others, but those two really stick out as far as funny guys.
Awesome. Yeah. So, just thanks for coming on the show. Obviously, you got to get back to, the grind, school and, football. So, thanks for coming on. Obviously, we're going to look forward to seeing you guys play, not this weekend, but, next weekend against Houston. So we wish you guys the best of luck for the rest of the season and, just, hope to stay in touch and good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. Yeah. So that was Brady White. The Memphis Tigers quarterback. Obviously, is busy with, obviously we got lucky with the bye week coming up after their big win against SMU. So, thanks for Brady for coming on, taking the time. The Memphis Tigers quarterback. Obviously, just the success he's had on the field thus far with over 2,500 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. So obviously, him and Kenneth Gainwell, DeMonte Coxey, just a bunch of plethora. We talked about before, talent on the field and obviously off the field too. As you mentioned, some of the camaraderie between the team, bonding, and also the funny guys. So just great organization. It seems like down there. Obviously, Memphis is doing some great things this year. We wish Brady and the Memphis Tigers the best of luck, and thanks for listening.